So the question is, who is that target customer for the RSV4 1100 factory? I mean, by sheer definition, the engine is too big for racing classes. And that's kind of the corner that a lot of the OEMs, in fact all of the OEMs, have found themselves in for the past who knows how long, is because racing rules are set to 1000 cc's. We're not going to build a sport bike that's higher than that because they can't race it anywhere. But Aprilia found, and I'm sure other OEMs have as well, that the number of customers who are racing their 1000cc sport bikes is really, really small. Why not build a premium motorcycle that does away with displacement constrictions and just build a cool, fast motorcycle that's bigger than 1000 cc's? And that's what the RSV4 1100 factory represents, is a fast motorcycle that doesn't confine itself to any rules as far as racing goes. This is a premium bike with premium components meant for that customer who is willing to pay more to have a badass motorcycle. And I think they've succeeded in their role here. So what makes this day special for me is the fact I've never been to Mugello before. Legendary racetrack. It's my first time here as a rider. I've been here as a spectator twice before. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna put on my leathers, put on my helmet, go for a spin, and tell you how this bike is. I am a lucky boy. Like any job, I know there are some days that are better than others. This day was particularly awesome. Legendary Mugello circuit and the all-conquering, in my opinion, Aprilia RSV4 1100 factory. So what do I think? Well, it's kind of hard in some ways to get an opinion about this bike because we only had 4 15-minute sessions around a track I've never seen before, and not just any track, but this one, the Mugello circuit. So it was a combination of trying to figure out where I'm going, because we're gonna go find out, holy shit, and trying to do it aboard, a fire-breathing motorcycle like this one. Now, I don't recommend learning a new racetrack on a 1100cc motorcycle, but if you're gonna do it, the RSV4 1100 is not a bad place to do it on. The first place to talk about is the engine. And the immediate comparison will be, well, how does it compare to the Ducati Panigale V4S? Well, don't forget the V4S Panigale is 1103cc. The Aprilia is 1078cc. So there is a little bit of a size difference there. The best way I can describe it is the Panigale V4S is just relentless. It makes power everywhere and it goes non-stop. It's in your face, aggressive. To me, now, I haven't ridden them back to back, but to me, the RSV4, and elbow down, and fire! It's equally as fast, but not aggressive like the Ducati is. It doesn't build that power. Here, over the paint. No idea how fast that was, but it felt insane. That brute power that the Ducati does, but suddenly you look down and you're going, well, I saw 306 Ks coming down the front straight here and the bike was still pulling. So it's plenty fast. So just the difference in the two bikes' characteristics is pretty outstanding, actually. The Ducati is all about brute force and power, and the Aprilia is about refinement, getting through the corners super fast. But now with this bigger engine, it also has a lot of that grunt to just toss you down the straightaway as well. Of course, it all starts right here in the engine. It's the 1078cc engine, the same displacement as the Tuono 1100. And externally, the dimensions of this engine are the same from the RSV4 and the Tuono, but inside, all the guts are pretty much almost not the same at all. Completely revised headwork. The top end is completely different cams, different headwork. I think they said they ported the heads a little bit. There's now shower injectors. The intake ports are a little bit different from the Tuono. As we move to the back, you'll see the Akrapovic titanium silencer. That's a homologated version. When you buy this bike, you're gonna get that can with it, and it sounds mean. I'm not sure if you can hear it right now, but there's 1 or 2 bikes going around the track, and yeah, it sounds awesome, especially considering that's the pipe you're gonna get when you buy it off the showroom floor. Super cool stuff. The bottom end is largely the same, but not quite. The pistons are different, the crank is a little bit different. So as far as the external appearance goes, it looks the same. You could even mount the 2 engines physically into the same frame. Don't forget too, the Aprilia RSV4 is the only bike out there where you can adjust the engine mount position, the swing arm position, and the fork offset straight off the factory floor. Aprilia is claiming 217 crank horsepower at 13,200 RPM, which sounds cool, and it is cool. Redline is 13.5, so it's kind of high up there. I believe they said the torque was 122 Newton meters. I got to do the conversions to figure out what that is in pound feet. Needless to say, it's a lot of power, a lot of torque, and they showed us a graph of the RSV4 1000 and the 1100, and clearly you would imagine with that bigger displacement, the graphs for the 1100 version here were just better than the 1000 throughout the rev range. Not surprising, it's to be expected actually, but more power, more fun. So very linear power delivery. That on-off throttle is buttery smooth, even in race mode, which is the most aggressive mode, full beans. That on-off throttle is perfect. It's buttery smooth, and then you just whack it open and that power just kicks you in the butt. You have the APRC electronic system, works super well, and I say that in the reference of mine that I'm not entirely sure if or when it actually came on, because I had it down to levels 3 as far as TC goes, 1 for wheelie control, and I could feel the tires sliding and squiggling a little bit, but it didn't feel like it was actually intervening. I bumped it up to 5 just to see what it'd be like, and then I could feel the intervention, and it wasn't so abrupt. It was more of you get on the gas and it wasn't as much power as you expect when you turn the throttle. I dialed it down to 3, and the amount of power I was hoping to get from turning the throttle was the amount of power that was delivered to me. A lot of these corners at Mugello, you gotta be so patient. You gotta wait and wait and wait. The corner entries, a lot of these turns are so wide, but then the corner exits are so narrow. It's a very fine line you gotta work with. I wasn't quite brave enough to dial it down to 2 or 1 or off, but I do have some sort of self-preservation inside of my brain. But just that feeling that the APRC, the TC especially, wasn't inhibiting, it was helping me feel more confident in my laps. That's beautiful. It was great. I mean, that's what I want from a person that's not racing. If I was going for the ultimate edge, grip, and lap times, maybe I would have dialed down to 2 and played with that power delivery with my right wrist instead of the electronics taking over for me. Now let's go to the front of the bike and work our way back. The first thing to start with are the Brembo Stylema calipers. As you already know, probably if you've seen any of our past videos with the Ducati or the Aprilia with the M50 calipers from before, the Stylemas take that just 1 notch above. I was the 4th of 4 people to ride this particular bike all day long, and this front straight's like 1.1 kilometers long. Here we go again. You're braking from 306 kilometers an hour all day long, and I was the last person to do it, so you'd imagine the discs are, you know, kind of tired, the brake pads are kind of tired. Yeah! The fluid gets really hot. Oh, that's frightening. Each and every lap I did, going down that straight, braking for turn 1. I get on the brakes. That is absolutely terrifying. Sitting up for the brakes. And it just
It's just so powerful, but so linear and progressive with the braking force.
Just that huge gust of wind hits you like a ton of bricks.
I mean, who knows if those ducts actually felt, actually did their purpose. From where I was sitting, I'm just happy they worked each and every time. And sure, there probably is some sort of relevance to those ducts down there cooling down the caliper, cooling down the disc, cooling down the pads. What I do know is the braking force from those Stylema calipers and the Brembo Master and the 330 mil discs, fantastic. Hard braking, great feel, everything you want in a braking system. And then there's, of course, moving up from the brake calipers, you have the huge talking point, you have these winglets. Do they work? Hell if I know. All I know is that when I was going down that front straight, hitting 306 kilometers an hour, the front end of this bike felt dead solid, very stable, very planted, not a bit of head shake. Now I was kind of keeping my weight over the front, over this little rise at the end of the straight to keep it from doing a little wheelie at 6th gear, which is crazy. Do the winglets work? Sure, I'll say they do. Kind of hard to tell, but that front end felt stable everywhere I went. In the slower turns, where the wings wouldn't make much of a difference, that front end still felt planted, solid, communicated well what the front tire was doing, just like this Aprilia has always done. This RSV4 1100 is basically like the 1000 we've loved in the past, just bumped up to 11. On the suspension front, the NIX fork and the TTX shock, I'll be honest, I didn't make any changes to it. Just our time riding the bike was so short, I wanted to focus on just getting the track laid out, and the suspension was in that window that I felt comfortable enough, which is a testament to how good these things are, that I could go out to a new track, not make any adjustments, and feel pretty comfortable enough to get my elbow on the ground on my second lap here. So I'll take that. Of course, NIX fork and a TTX shock, who's going to complain about those components? They are so good. The quick shifter works great, up or down. I don't think I used the clutch at all unless I was leaving the pits at a stop. I think the Aprilia quick shifter system is maybe the best standard system out there. I mean, up or down, it's intuitive, it's slick, it's quick, it's a very well thought out piece. If you're catching a theme here, it's that I really like the RSV4 1100 factory. As I've said before, Aprilia has done a great job with getting this RSV4 dialed. The evolution of the RSV4 just keeps getting better and better and better and better, and the 1100 factory just one-ups themselves once again. I probably sound like a broken record because we say the same thing about the RSV4 every time, but it's true. This latest edition is so good. But I do have a gripe, and I'm realizing now that the seating position, I can't really put my elbows tucked in on the straight, as much as I would like to. It hits my knees just a tiny little bit. And if I could scoot back a little bit more to tuck my elbows in, I would like that. But as it stands, when I'm already all the way back, I'm still touching my elbows to my knees just a tiny little bit. And really, that's the biggest complaint I've got about this thing, other than I don't have enough talent to really fully exploit what this bike can do. And I'll leave you with this.
The 1100 is basically the RSV4 turned up, to 11, and it's like an exercise in excess.
Compared to the Panigale V4S with the 1103cc V4 engine, like I said before, the Ducati is just relentless, in your face and aggressive. The RSV4 1100 is refined, smooth, and sneaky fast in the fact that you can probably go just as fast as you would on the Panigale, and you wouldn't notice it. It's that smooth. Which brings me to my next point. I think that means a shootout between the two is in order, but in the meantime, go to motorcycle.com for my full thoughts on the RSV4 1100 factory. There I can really process everything that happened today, download my brain, tell you about it in words, on digital paper, on the website. But suffice it to say, I love this motorcycle. It's very good. 24.5. You can decide for yourself if that's a good deal. But yeah, go to Mo, read the full story. If you like this video, click the like, subscribe. Let me know how I did. and we'll see you next time.